Hey Brew Troopers. So I thought today, as we're getting towards the end of the third week of August, do a quick fresh hop ale. I'm going to do a Bell's Two-Hearted Ale clone. Got it just this last year. A bunch of people on Brew Troopers all had it. So I'll give you a quick look at my hop yard. So I've got some raspberries and rhubarb and stuff in here, but starting at this side, this is a Centennial. This is what I'm going to be using. It's ready right now. This is Friday the 21st of August. So those are ready to be picked. So I'm going to use the fresh hops, fresh Centennials in that Bell's Two-Hearted Ale. This next one is Columbus. The one next to it is the Chinook. Does not seem to grow very well. I'm not quite sure why. All of these are on their 5th year right now. Next one down should be this one right here is Mount Hood, and then the last two are Cascades. So what I did, give you a little bit of a structure piece of it if you're interested in growing your own hops. Again, this is just mine. So what I did is buried a 4x4 into the ground, just an 8-footer. I put 2 carriage bolts in, so I can pop one of those carriage bolts out, loosen them. This whole thing can drop, so it'll basically swing down. So as you're looking at it from this way, this whole thing can swing down to this side. If we had high winds or I want to pick them, I can drop that. I have the line tied up here, so I can just drop the line if I want to. I typically take the top 4x4s in during the winter time, take the line in. What I've found is, and I'll put a link to this in the video, this is coconut core. You get about 150 foot of it from Amazon, a couple of different brands. It does not break. First couple of years I used twine and I had issues with it breaking. It basically dry rots when you get into July and August. So this is my hop yard. I think the Cascades are going to go into Sierra Nevada clone. I think Andrew, Running on Beer, had that, or one of the guys. I apologize if I got that wrong. Somebody put it out on Discord there recently. So give you a quick look of what we got. So I figure I'd take you through my fresh hop, see how the brew day goes. So hope everybody's doing well, and we'll catch you here as we start the mash in. So as I was thinking through getting this video together, I did want to mention one thing I have had to add, and that is the guide wire right here. So I bought on Amazon an anchor point. They actually make them for trampolines. It's basically an auger point that goes in. They're probably about 36 inches long, and you just basically drive it in the ground a little bit, then twist it clockwise, and it'll basically pull yourself in. And then I put this anchor point, or this guide wire, on, because these are wood and they don't have something to hold them back. The weight of these hops will definitely pull this thing down. You can see how it pulls that rope down, but those 4x4s will bend in if you don't have something extra with it. So just want to add that in case someone's looking at this and saying, I think I can do that in my yard. It's definitely something I learned after the first couple of years. I had to have something extra to be able to do this all. So all right, just wanted to throw that in there. All right, guys, so this is the vine that I'm picking on right now. This is my Centennial. So I think they're just about ready to go. They squish. Come back, they have that papery texture to it, and then that nice yellow lupulin in there. Those are the glands you're looking for. Kind of a, let me see if I get the light a little better, almost like a goldenrod color. So what I've found over the last couple of years is this plant is always done earlier than my other ones. This is the Centennial. You'll see that they'll start to turn this brown. So I'm right at the edge right now where she'll start going on me. So another week's time, if I didn't do it this weekend, I'd probably lose out on it. So I'm thinking I'm right at that right spot, looking for that nice golden rod yellow, not a light yellow. and then if you basically kind of mush it around in your fingers, and so it should be sticky to the touch. Reading different places, people will tell you because of the moisture content in these that you need to use more if you're not drying them, and I'm not going to. I'm just going to pick them and use them and put them right into the boil. I'm actually mashing in currently. Again, I'm doing the Bell's Two-Hearted Ale, which is all Centennials. So I am in the process of mashing now, so I come out, pick while the mash is going on. Most places say somewhere between 5 to 8 times the amount that the recipe calls for. This calls for an ounce at 30 minutes, an ounce at 45 minutes and an ounce at 30 minutes, and then dry hopped with 3.5 ounces. So I'm going to go with that 6 ounce on the wet side, again because it's the moisture content that builds them up. If I was drying them, then I could use them for that. Obviously I've never had these tested, so I don't know what the alpha acid is, so it's a little bit of a guesswork with this. So I think I would rather have it a little on the higher bitterness side than more of a malt bomb. So I might even pick it just a touch more and see how they come off. So I will catch you guys in a little while here as we finish up the mash, and we'll start getting ready to do some hop drops. Alright, so we are 30 minutes into the mash. Mashing, what is that, 152 right now. So this is 6 ounces of fresh Centennial. I just picked them. So as I was saying in the last portion here, people will say somewhere between 5 to 8 times what you should get. So I decided I'm going to kind of go right in the middle right there. I'm going to go 6 ounces at 45 minutes and 6 ounces at 30 minutes of the fresh hop Centennials. So we'll see if we can get them into that hop spider. I should be able to. There's not too many there. The 12 ounces at this weight, should be able to get those in. And then there's 3.5 ounces of dry hop that goes into it. So this is, again, it's the Bell's Two-Hearted Ale. It's, again, for my system, I go a little less than 5. The kettle can't hold it. It's 10 gallon kettle. So if we go too much over 5, I have a hard time with my mash water and everything in here. So this is, I think I did this at 4.75 gallon batch size. So it is 8 pounds pale, 3 pounds Vienna. I believe the expected starting gravity is a 1062, 1065, something like that. It's going to end up being about a 6.5% beer. It's supposed to finish up at around 1013 or so. I'm just going to use USO5. Again, it's all Centennial. I got a Whirl Flock tablet over there for the 15-minute mark, and then USO5 just at 68 degrees. And then we'll be dry hopping towards the end. Might actually try the colder dry hop. What I'm hearing from our yeast experiment when we were talking about that, I've heard Denny Kahn and Drew Beecham talk about BSG putting an article out talking about that 38 degree dry hop for 48 hours. So I may give it a shot with this and just use it as a little bit of a test. I've never done that with the fresh hops before, so why not give it a shot and see what happens. So, all right, guys, I'll try to catch it here when we hit drop hop, or hop drop. Excuse me, haven't even drank yet today. All right, guys, have a great day. Sláinte. All right, guys, we are 15 minutes into the boil, so this is the first drop of Centennial. Let's see if I can do this without spilling all over the place here. Gonna be a few of them in there, I can imagine. I gotta shove these down. Definitely take a little bit more work with the fresh, but gotta get them down in the wort there and boiling. So I've got one more of those at the 30 chill, and then we will pitch the yeast probably tomorrow. I'm probably not gonna, I can only chill down to about 90 right now with the use of the pool water and my immersion chiller. So probably put it in the firm chamber, let it settle to 68 overnight, and then we'll pitch the yeast tomorrow. So probably won't catch the next hop drop. I just thought I'd catch the first one. Hopefully we'll get back and do a little tasting of this and see how it turns out here in a week or two. All right, guys, sláinte. All right, guys, so beer is done, and that's in the firm chamber. Got US-05 pitched on it, and that is good to go. That is sitting at 68 in the firm chamber, fermenting away now. Ended up picking the rest of them, so basically I just take the whole bind down and just kind of sit here at the back of my shop and pick them. So what I do is I've got an old screen door. So as I replaced the sliding glass door and took the screen door off, got a new one with that. So I put in a couple of sawhorses, take my bucket and just basically pour them out. Ended up with 2.6 pounds of hops off of this plant, which actually I've gone back and I keep track of what I get from year to year. So I planted these, I'm not sure if I said it in the earlier videos or not, I planted these in 2016. So the first year obviously you don't get anything out of that. The second year is pretty minimal. I think I had enough out of all the binds, and I think I did a harvest ale, I called it, and just dump them all into a hop stand. And then this year, or the last couple of years, I've had enough to make individual beers. So I took 12 ounces out of that, put it into the beer. This I'm going to be drying. I will then vacuum seal these up. I need 4 ounces of these dry to go in the Bell's Two Hearted Ale clone. They'll be dry hopped. And again, I'm going to try that with the cold hopping for 2 days at 48 hours, based off of some of the information we've seen. Yeast experiment, Scott Janish. There's a BSG article that's out there. If I can find it, I will link it to this video as well. Talks about in those 30-degree ranges, not getting as much hop creep, those types of things. So I'm going to give that a try again. So that's basically what I do. So now I have 5 more binds that I have to pick. They're all coming ready here probably in the next week or so. This is pushing pushing the end of August. Got another week or so left of August yet, so they'll kind of keep checking them and see how they go. So I'll use the fan over here. I'll blow air up underneath them here, leave them out overnight, typically 24 hours, 36 hours, and they'll be ready. What they've said is when you pick up the cone, if you bend it and it snaps in the middle, the spine snaps, then they're dry enough and ready to go. So typically it's a day. It depends on the humidity, and we just had a cold front go through and a thunderstorm last night, and it's dropped it down pretty good here. So it's in the 80s, but dew points are way down today, so I think this is going to be a perfect time to dry them and see how it turns out. So all right, I will either post this after this, or I'll wait until the beer is ready to go. Maybe I'll do a video of the dry hop, and I'm not sure. We'll see how it goes from there. So if not, I hope everybody's doing well and having a great one. Sláinte, Woodshed Brewing. All right, guys, so I am down to the drying phase. I have gone through it, so you can kind of get an idea how much these really do dry out. You know, the leaves will definitely all start to fall away from what they normally look like. And you can see, maybe you can hear, really opens up. You can see that yellow in there. So yeah, that lupulin right there on that, right in that spot right there, that really starts to pop out. So basically I'm just going through. I needed 4 ounces dried for dry hopping in the Bell's clone. So that's what this is. I just put it in a vacuum sealer bag and seal it up. So that's 4 ounces of the hops dried, and then that's what I have left over. So I'm gonna get a weight on them and see what I have, and then figure out what I want to do with those. Hoping I have maybe enough that I can do this brew all over again. It's a good beer, and I enjoy having it on tap. So if it works out well, I can make it up in a couple of smaller bags and have them all set to go and use it for a second brew. So all right, I think that's probably it for the fresh hop, and then I'll try to get a quick video on the tasting, so at the back end of this. So we're pushing in on the end of August now. My other hops are getting to that point that they're about ready to be picked. Been checking them kind of every other day here, so we're probably in the next week or so we need to get on that. So all right, guys, sláinte. All right, guys, so this is the final shot here of the fresh hop beer that I made. This is the Bell's Two Hearted Ale clone. Let's see if I can get you decent shot here. The carbonation's pretty good, streaming up through. Color I think is pretty close to being on, maybe a touch light. If I had a, this is actually looking maybe a touch light in the camera than it does in real life. It's maybe just a touch darker, but I think it's pretty close. I think for what I have, so it's got a real good citrus smell to it. Excuse me, Centennial smell to it. So I've noticed my fresh hops have a little bit of a unique smell to them. Not a bad thing, not great either, just unique. When I do the fresh hop beers here in the fall, they all have a, I guess grassy is the best way to describe it. I'm not sure if there's a, yeah, I guess grassy is probably the best way to put it. I don't know if that's the best descriptor or not, but so far I've been happy with them, and they grow without a whole heck of a lot of energy and money. So after the first couple of years, they kind of take off. So, all right, gents, cilantro. This is a solid beer. I like it. It's got pretty good balance. Bitterness is there. I think maybe next time I may even throw a little bit more of the dry hop to it. See if I can get a little bit more of that Centennial out of it. I used 4 ounces that were dried, and then I used the wet hops in the boil. I believe there was 2 different spots we did it. I'll have to look back, but I believe it was 45 minutes and 30 minutes. So if I get around to it, I'll add the recipe in the links below. If anybody's got questions about hops, what I've done here, this is again is Western New York. I find so far, again in my property at least, Cascades do really well. Centennials do excellent. Columbus very, very well. I have a Chinook and a Mount Hood out there, and they're so-so. They're okay, but nothing great. But the other 3 seem like they do really well. So it's 2 Cascades, a Mount Hood, a Chinook, a Columbus, and a Centennial. And out of those, the 3, the Cascade, the Columbus, and the Centennials all seem like every year they go gangbusters, and I get a lot out of them. So I'm gonna try the Sierra Nevada clone, and I'm gonna put the Cascades in that here. I'm gonna pick them this weekend. So this is first weekend after Labor Day. I've got a little bit left to go for picking, and then probably dry the rest of them and see if I can't use them over the winter time. So, all right, thanks for hanging along for this. It's probably gonna end up being about 14 or 15 minutes. So appreciate it, guys. If anybody has questions, again, just ask them in the links below. Woodshed Brewing, cilantro. Have a great one, guys.